Hello, how are you doing? So why play in Amazon Bedrock playgrounds? I'll answer this question, but first, Amazon Bedrock gives you generative AI capabilities powered by a collection of foundation models. In the AWS console, if you navigate to Bedrock, you will find this service provides a playground where you can experiment with these foundation models, and in the process, fine-tune your API requests that you will then be able to use in your own application code. Okay, so let's get started. So first, I will give a quick overview of what we're going to cover in this video. First, I will discuss what playgrounds are in AWS Bedrock. After that, I will show you a quick example of playing with Bedrock Playground. Next, I will show you how you can experiment and fine-tune your calls to the foundation models and how you can pull out that information for your API requests that you'll use in your application. After this, I will show you how to set up an AWS budget. You can experiment with foundation models for relatively low cost, but the billing model is slightly unintuitive, and I was never quite sure how much I was spending. Each foundation model charges based on the number of input and output tokens, and each consumes them at different rates. And so I wanted to set up a budget just to make sure I had a feel for how much I was spending. And so I'll show you how to do this as well. Lastly, I will summarize the key points to take away from this video. Okay, so let's get into it. So why play in playgrounds? Well, the biggest reason is you get to experiment and fine-tune your API calls, and you can use those parameters in your application code. So let's go ahead and do this. So navigate to AWS Bedrock in the AWS console, and when you get to the home page, click the Try Bedrock button. Now you'll get to the overview page, and one of the things we'll do here is we'll click Base Models. Here you'll see all the models available for you. You can read about each one, you can scroll down the page, and all 6 are listed. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to assume you have some conceptual understanding of foundation models. You may have noticed that there's a blue banner indicating I have no access to models. Initially, when you first started using Bedrock, you won't have access, but we can easily fix this. So now go click on Model Access. Now within Model Access, I'm going to request access to these models. So I click Edit. I'm going to go ahead and click the checkbox at the top in the header, which automatically checks all the models. You can't see here, but if you scroll down, you can click the Save button at the bottom of the page. Now, if I go back to Edit and I check Anthropic and hit Save one more time, you'll see that Anthropic does require you to submit some information in a pop-up. I went ahead and filled this in, and then I clicked Request. And I found that after a few hours, I was able to get access to Anthropic. The other models took just a few minutes. Once all of your requests have been approved, you can go back to Model Access and see that all the access is granted. Now, we can click Chat on the left-hand navigation. Now I'm in the Chat Playground, and I will select the model. Now, I quickly want to point out the custom models. If you haven't customized a model, you won't see any models available there. But you can see that if you did go customize a model, it would show up in the drop-down in that area. Again, for this video, I don't have any custom models, so I'm going to select AI21 Labs and Jurassic 2 Mid. And now I'm going to start chatting. I'm going down to the Enter prompt, and I enter, where is the best surfing on the Texas coast? And now I click the Run button. Jurassic replies, Corpus Christi is considered to have some of the best surf in Texas. Okay, reasonable answer. Not sure I agree 100%, but reasonable answer. So now I enter in a follow-up question. What type of weather conditions make for good surf on the Texas Gulf Coast? Again, I click the Run button. Jurassic replies, Corpus Christi has consistent surf year-round. Winter tends to be the best time when the waves are the biggest. Okay, I generally agree with this. Winter cold fronts sweeping through do generate good conditions all along the Texas coast. and in fact is my favorite time of the year to surf. So yes, that's a good answer. And so you can see here that Jurassic is able to interact. I didn't pick the best model. There's actually a next-gen model that's probably a little bit better. If you played with ChatGPT, this has similar capabilities here. I wanted to quickly show you that you can adjust the inference configuration when calling the Jurassic API by clicking the link, update inference configuration, and you'll see that you can adjust inference parameters such as temperature, top P, length, etc. You can read more about this in the Amazon docs, but this allows you to fine-tune the parameters that are being passed with the prompts to the foundation model. And this is that part of that area of fine-tuning I was describing earlier. Now, I want to go ahead and play in the image playground. So I click image on the left-hand navigation. And there's only one text image foundation model. So by default, I'm going to go with Stability AA's model, Stable Diffusion XL. I'm going to enter a prompt asking the image to generate something for me. So I enter in, generate an image of a pier along the coast. Click the run button. Okay, looks like the pier of some kind. Not exactly what I was wanting, but I can see that it's a pier and there's some vehicles on it. Looks pretty good. The image is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna give it more detail. And now I enter in, generate an image of a wooden fishing pier along the coast. I click the run button again. Nice. That's kind of what I was looking for. It is a pretty cool image. It looks like it's either dawn or dusk. Nice lighting. Again, you can see here the inference configuration is available to you on the right-hand side, and by tweaking the dials and knobs here, you can fine-tune how that response comes back to you. Now, one thing to note is that when you do this, you may be incurring more cost per API call. And the reason is that the foundation model may be doing more work, it may be taking more time, more compute to generate that image for you. But just, that's part of the fine tuning and that the trade-offs that you have, right, of what you're wanting, quality versus cost kind of thing. I also want to show you real quick is with this particular text-to-image foundation model, if you click on the View API request, you'll get a pop-up, and literally those are the parameters being passed in when you made that call to the foundation model. And again, you could copy and paste that into your code. So you can see Playgrounds gives you the benefit of experimenting and fine-tuning. And once you do that, you can take the parameters and use them in your application when you make calls to the foundation model. Really quickly, I just wanted to point out that there's 2 billion options in AWS Bedrock. First is on-demand, and this is by default what you have, and it's more of a pay-as-you-go type of model. If you use it for a few, 30 minutes, you'll get billed during that for each of the requests. If you stop using it, then you won't get billed anymore. There's a second billing option called provision throughput, where you will basically pay no matter how much you use it, and you are provisioning a certain amount of throughput. This is a better option if you have very steady, consistent workloads, especially if they're higher volume workloads. This billing model is going to be more cost effective than on demand. If you have, if your workload is using this service, using Bedrock occasionally, maybe there's peaks, there's spikes of activity, and then it's quiet, then the on-demand is going to be the better way to go. For this video, I'm going to stick with on-demand. There's one more thing I wanted to show you. If you click examples on the left-hand navigation, you'll see that there's a number of examples provided to you for use cases which make calls to various foundation models in Bedrock. And when you drill into this and look at it, you can see the prompts, the parameters, and this, again, might be a really good starting point if you have a specific use case in mind and you find something similar. this is a good place to start. One I really thought was pretty interesting was the one example where it masks out personal identifying information, PII. So you pass an input document in, and in this particular use case, the output document will mask out any names, first names, last names, any addresses, emails, phone numbers, social security, etc. So this is actually, I thought, was a pretty cool example for any of you security-minded systems engineers out there that want to see something like this. This example is just awesome. So again, this last thing I wanted to show you was AWS budgets. You know, regardless of whether you're using on-demand or provision throughput, the pricing model is a little unintuitive. The model billing is based on input and output tokens, and each foundation model consumes these at different rates. And so as I was playing with this, I didn't ever quite know how much I was spending. It turns out that it was probably even less than a penny. But again, if you start experimenting with this more, I would say it's important to set up AWS budgets, and this will help prevent some accidental large spend on your credit card. So if you go to AWS budgets in the AWS console, and if you click on budgets, and here I used all the defaults. I named my budget $5 spend. I put in my email so I can get notifications. And so I set up a budget so I would get notified if I was approaching $5 a month or exceeding that amount. Again, this is probably a best practice if you play with AWS in general. Just anecdotally, I've in the past created Aurora databases with multiple replicas. I went to sleep, forgot about it, and then at the end of the month had a pretty large bill of several $100s. I had to go back and figure it out, and it was kind of confusing, but everything worked out. But AWS budgets is a tool that would have helped prevent that from happening, and so I strongly encourage you to do this as well. So in summary, playgrounds allow for experimentation and fine-tuning. They allow you to optimize your API parameter calls to the foundation models, and then ultimately you're able to copy and paste those parameters into your application code to get exactly what you're looking for. Lastly, I showed how to set up an AWS budget, which is a good practice in general, but I did it in this case because I was never quite sure how much I was spending as I was experimenting with AWS Bedrock. Thanks for watching. Any videos referenced will be in the YouTube description. I invite you to watch other videos on my channel. If you like the way I'm packaging up this content, please consider subscribing. And lastly, we all love technology. We're excited about innovation in the cloud with machine learning, AI, but don't forget to carve out some time in the real world. Get outside, go swimming, go hiking, get out and move your body. And if you do, let me know in the comments. And with that, have a great day. Thanks.